Jamuna Tiravonachari Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jamuna Tiravonachari Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jayo Jamuna Tiravonachari Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Privrajacharya Statarasta Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Se Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki, Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopagopinath Shamakuda Radha Kunigiri Govardhana Ki, Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki, Shri Mayapur Dhama ki, Ganga Maya ki, Jamuna Maya ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Tulasi Devi ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Jainatai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ya etat Putana Moksham Krishnas Yarbhakam Adbhutam Srinuyach Shraddhaya Martyo Govinde Labate Ratim Ya etat Putana Moksham Krishnas Yarbhakam Adbhutam Srinuyat Shraddhaya Martyo Govinde Labate Ratim Ya etat Putana Moksham Krishnas Yarbhakam Adbhutam Srinuyat Shraddhaya Martyo Govinde Labate Ratim. Ya, anyone who, etat, this, putana moksham, salvation of putana, krishnasya, of Krishna, arabakam, the childhood pastimes, adbhutam, wonderful, shrinuyat, should hear, Shraddhaya, with faith and devotion. Martya, any person within this material world. Govinde, for the Supreme Person. Govinda, Adi Purusha. Labate, gains. Ratim, attachment. Translation. Upon smelling the fragrance of the smoke emanating from Putana's burning body, many inhabitants of Brajabhumi in distant places were astonished. Where is this fragrance coming from? They asked. Thus they went to the spot where Putana's body was being burnt. Purport. The aroma of the smoke emanating from a burning fire is not always very favorable. Therefore, upon smelling such a wonderful fragrance, the inhabitants of Braja were astonished. When the inhabitants of Braja, who had come from distant places, heard the whole story of how Putana had come and had been killed by Krishna, they were certainly astonished, and they offered their blessings to the child for his wonderful deed of killing Putana. Nanda Maharaj, of course, was very much obliged to Vasudeva, who had foreseen the incident, and simply thanked him, thinking how wonderful Vasudeva was. O Maharaj Pariksit, best of the Kurus, Nanda Maharaj was very liberal and simple. He immediately took his son Krishna on his lap, as if Krishna had returned from death. And by formally smelling his son's head, Nanda Maharaj undoubtedly enjoyed transcendental bliss. Purport. Nanda Maharaj could not understand how the inhabitants of his house had allowed Putana to enter the house, nor could he imagine the gravity of the situation. He did not understand that Krishna had wanted to kill Putana, and that his pastimes were performed by Yogamaya. Nanda Maharaj simply thought that someone had entered his house and created havoc. This was Nanda Maharaj's simplicity. Text 44. Any person who hears with faith and devotion about how Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, killed Putana, and who thus invests his hearing in such childhood pastimes of Krishna, certainly attains attachment for Govinda, the Supreme Original Person. Purport. The incident in which the great witch attempted to kill the child but was killed herself is certainly wonderful. Therefore, this verse uses the word adbhutam, meaning specifically wonderful. Krishna has left us many wonderful narrations about him. Simply by reading these narrations as they are described in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one gains salvation from the material world and gradually develops attachment to and devotion for Govinda, Adi Purusha. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 10th canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Killing of the Demon Putana. So Srila Prabhupada is pointing out that this verse, that the adbhutam, this wonderfulness, so the specifically wonderful, then is will be the main point that's being made here. So this wonderfulness is how Krishna as a person is performing all these nice pastimes. That's the specialty. And if someone with faith hears these and absorbs themselves in these, then they are naturally liberated. And with time, then they develop love for Krishna. So, Krishna being the absolute, if one is in contact with Krishna, then, of course, one is on the transcendental platform. And then from that transcendental platform, by continuing to hear these wonderful pastimes and the association of devotees with faith, then one comes nearer and nearer to the point, and then one develops Krishna, a love for Krishna. So this developing love for Krishna, that's the central point. That's the main point to be appreciated. The liberation part, that just comes because if you're absorbed in Krishna, Krishna being transcendental, that puts one on the transcendental platform. Does that make sense? So the platform itself is not the specialness, right? Because we'll look at it from the ascending process. We're going to look at, we get from here, then we get liberated and all that, and of course we have devotion and all that, and so, but that will give us liberation, and so we're performing devotional service. That will get us up to the point of liberation, freed from the material world. But actually, the process is the other way around. It's because we have that attraction to Krishna in the association of devotees. Just that association with Krishna, even we don't have love for him, it still generates liberation. because he's transcendental. The living entities are transcendental. And so if you're identifying with Krishna or seeing things in relationship to Krishna, we're not observing it in relation to the modes of nature. So that makes us liberated. So liberation is the position that you're functioning in. It's not the consciousness. Right? Liberation is a state of existence. It's not what the consciousness is absorbed in. Does that make sense? Just like you're in the temple room. Are you absorbed in that I'm in the temple room? Or are you absorbed in the deities, and the kirtan, and the devotees? Right? So if you come to see the deities, you're automatically in the temple room. It's not a separate endeavor. It's not that you have to get liberated and then you get there, you come crawling up, on your hands and knees, and you finally make it into the temple room like that, and then you roll on your back, get a breather, and then, okay, now we'll go for the deities, Does that make sense? That's not how it's working. If you're absorbed in Krishna, liberation is automatic. It comes along with it. Does that make sense? So that's the whole point. It's like you order a burrito. It comes in some kind of thing to hold it. You don't have to separately endeavor for that. Does that make sense? So we have to understand it. It's that simple. And that the main thing is being absorbed in Krishna. That's the whole thing. And then by being absorbed in Krishna, that will bring you to love of Godhead. That's the specialness. So that one is with faith, one is engaging in Krishna's service and hearing and chanting, you're liberated. Now from that platform, now you can develop devotion to Krishna. Right? Because of the absorption in Krishna. Just like, let's say, we're, something connected with Krishna, the kirtan or something like that, and we might feel some, kind of happiness from that. Does that make sense? That's, so now we can look at it, let's say hairs stand on end, or you cry, or whatever it is like that. We can look at, I'm so advanced. That's one way to look at it. Lord Chaitanya recommends a slightly different way of looking at it. Is that is there because we're associating with Krishna. Krishna is Ananda personified. He is Ananda. So if you associate with Ananda, why wouldn't you feel? But the point is having felt that, now we should, with that faith, move forward to Krishna. That's why it says someone, heart is considered, stone-like, hard-hearted and stone-like, if after feeling these kind of transcendental ecstasies, they don't try to endeavor for developing love for Krishna. You understand? So that means just by associating with Krishna through hearing and chanting, these things may come up. Right? But it's Krishna who's the special one. So by associating with him, that's where it comes up. So we don't say it's, I'm so advanced. No, it's Krishna's so special. Right? And then we have the opportunity to associate with the devotees and take advantage of this association, and then we can appreciate. So this whole point of having faith and being absorbed in, it's not a technique, it's faith. Right? That faith is gained from association. We have that faith from association, then these things naturally develop. Love for Krishna develops. It's not a technique. Right? It has to be appreciated. That it is. We are given techniques because we only know techniques. Right? It means, what do people talk about nowadays? Right? If you want to be professional, you have to have knowledge and skills. Right? Anything else? No. Because if you have knowledge and skills, then you have money. If you have money, then you'll be happy, and everything will be perfect. Right? Did they ever mention relationships, good qualities, being able to maintain good qualities? No. Just knowledge and skills. So that's what we're used to. So therefore, there are techniques of devotional service, because we only relate to techniques. We say love for Krishna is kind of like, yeah. It's like, it doesn't mean anything to us. So you have a technique, okay, then we can do that. And then someone's following the technique, that's good. They're not following, then it's the end of the world. You understand? So, that's what we catch, but it's actually because you're associating with Krishna. That's what's giving the effect, not the technique. Does that make sense? So, what's recommended and what is recommended to us? It is the activities and mentality of those who do have love for Krishna. Like Mother Jashoda has love for Krishna, she expresses that through cooking through Krishna. So we're given the opportunity to do cooking for Krishna. She's cooking because she has prema, therefore she cooks. We don't have prema, we cook in aspiring to develop it. You understand? But it's not the technique because I'm cooking, that's why I develop love for Krishna. No, it's because you're doing things that are recommended by the acharyas, and that sincerity, that faith, then Krishna being pleased, then you move towards Krishna. Has to understand is that the mercy descends. It's not because I did something. You know, we'll meet halfway, you know, because I'm so fabulous and then Krishna's fabulous and hey, you know, we can relate here, you know. We got something going on here, you know, the fabulous people, right, you know. Right? Does that make sense? You know, so it's changed from are you experienced into are you fabulous? Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So we try to move, so this is what's happening here, and then we see is this, that Krishna does these things just to attract our attention. And it's based on that love between him and the devotees. And his affection, we have to remember, we're having to develop our love for Krishna. Krishna doesn't have to develop his love for us. He already has that. Right? Otherwise, if he didn't have that, why would there be the material world? Right? Material world's here, so the living entities that are important to him then have a place where they can do, you know, be stupid for a while. Right? And then after that, then hopefully they figure out, well, you know, stupid is overrated. And then, you know, try to move back to Godhead. Does that make sense? So he already loves us. So it's a matter of us awakening that natural love for him. So then he does all these pastimes. So those who already have this love, it nourishes that love. And those who don't, then it cultivates it. So it's the same pastime, same activity as work. Just like we see is those activities in spontaneous devotional service that they do in the spiritual world, those are given to us as rules and regulations of Vaidhi, but it's the same activities. It's not something different. So the whole idea here is how to develop that love for Krishna, how to by association, how to develop that faith that this is what is going to make it work. Absorption in Krishna is going to make it work. Everything else we're just engaging to try to keep us in touch with Krishna. Right? But it's not the knowledge and technique that's generating Krishna consciousness. It just keeps us busy. Right? Mother Jashoda doesn't have to go to a seminar to, you know, get inspired, you know. You know, does that make sense? You know, how you say, rich mom, poor mom. She doesn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? She's naturally inspired. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Any questions on this? Ooh, obey. On his hat it says obey. Right? Serious. Okay. Yes. Microphone. Yes, microphone is coming.
Guide us. Maharaj, did you tell about the Murti of Krishna in the altar rooms, also about association with Krishna? And we know the 5 Mahat books, and we know incarnation of Krishna in the Bhumi, like Murti, or in the Agni, like in a picture of Surya Dev, or also in the Akash we have the Krishna avatar, like Shabda Brahman, for example, Hare Krishna mantra. In the water we have maybe Matsya avatar, it's the Krishna in the water, but can you speak anything about avatar of Krishna on the air? It must to be.
In the air.
In the air. How can we understand avatar Krishna on the air, and what is it?
See, is that Krishna means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Supreme Person means they're this source of whatever exists, right? If Krishna is said to be all-knowing, right? Omniscient, that means he has to be the source of all the knowledge. Because if the knowledge is coming from somewhere else, how will he know it all? So that means all the energies are coming from him. The six opulences are coming from him. And his Swarup Shakti, that's non-different from him. So the point that Krishna makes, over and over again, is that nothing is different from him. And so all of the energies are just various manifestations that are bringing out different aspects and qualities of the Lord. Right? So, just like, let's say, in the body is dead matter, right? And then the soul is residing in the body, right? But what's giving life to the body? It's not the soul. Soul is conscious of the body, but it's not getting life to the body. Like you're conscious of, the board there. But just because you're conscious of it, now it turns to life and decides it's been sitting here long enough and its work's done, and it gets up and walks out. And because if it goes now, it'll get the pizza, and when everyone goes down, it'll be finished. Right? Does that happen? Yes? Always? Okay. Yeah, okay. Maybe be aware if you visit his home, because it's all happening there, yeah. So the point is that Krishna gives he is the life heirs. He is the life force that's in the body. So that's already Krishna. He is prana. Prana is Krishna. Because we're just taking air, but air itself is just an element. But what's the importance of it? Because it acts, it gives the vital force to things. Does that make sense? So that's there. In the Gita then he'll be the touch, sensation, he'll be whatever it is. There's all these different aspects. So the point is that he's taking care of all these things. It's his potency that makes it. Or you have the Devata Vayu, and then Vayu is there because say his potency to perform that office is Krishna's potency. Like that. And then you see is that Hanuman, and Bhima, then they're also in this aspect, right? So the point is that everything is Krishna. It's just a matter of appreciating that it comes from the person. It's not that you have the potencies and then you get back to. No, Krishna is the source of those potencies. So it starts from Krishna. Krishna has all these. Then that's why they're all functioning and working and everything. Then it becomes very easy to appreciate. Then we can see Krishna in everything. Does that make sense? Yes.
Sometimes we see in our devotional life, we have a particular attraction to one technique over another. So is it recommended that one cultivate that technique if there's a specific reciprocation coming from it?
As long as the technique is recommended. It's like, I know my dad, the technique of smoking cigarettes, he had a real rapport with that, but that doesn't mean that that's something that, that's not a technique you follow. Does that make sense? So the point is what's given to us by Rupa Goswami, as Prabhupada says, as chalked out by the Goswamis, by Jiva Goswami. Because Srila Jiva Goswami, then he gives the understanding how to follow. The proper understanding, the philosophy, how it applies, and everything like this. So then, following those with the attitude that we're trying to please Krishna, that it's the pleasure of Krishna that's the success, not the expertise in the technique. Right? Now, because we're offering body, mind, and words to Krishna, then we're going to try to do the best for Krishna. So we'll try to perform the technique to the best of our ability. And whatever we can do today, then there's always room for improvement. You know, it's not about the improvement, but it's naturally as we develop, then we can do it in a nicer way. And because the results are for Krishna, then results come from technique, right? And so we want to do it the best for Krishna. But it's the attitude of trying to do it the best for Krishna that's important. So that's why the 9 processes are given. And you see is that different devotees have become perfect by following just one of them. But at the same time, as you see, is also, you know, Ambarish Maharaj following all of them. So it's whichever qualities work for you. But if there's recommendation that you're following a certain number of them, you use all of them. But you might put in extra time and extra effort into a particular one. You know what I'm saying? Just because, let's say, we're chanting doesn't mean that we don't take darshan of the deities, or, does that make sense? Or take prasad or something like this. So we do all the different aspects. But we may put in, if we have extra time, then we'll put that into chanting. Does that make sense? You know, some brahmacharis will put that into, you know, eating more halava. You know, so whatever is that particular, you know, devotional activity that really strikes them, that they feel that they're, like you said, that real reciprocation. Like that. Does that make sense? So it's fine, because we're individuals. That has to be appreciated. But because we're into it, that doesn't mean that now that's the technique for everyone on the planet. Right? We have to be careful of that. Because otherwise then it becomes, we don't understand why it's important. Right? Some don't follow because they don't see the importance. Others say we should follow, but they still don't know why. Does that make sense? So we should appreciate why that's special. It's because the techniques, because of its connection to Krishna. If it's not connected to Krishna, why will it give some spiritual benefit? It means that everything's connected to Krishna, but if we don't see it that way, we don't get the benefit. Right? The direct activities of devotional service that Rupa Goswami gives, those 5 activities, right? You know, of hearing, chanting in the association of devotees, hearing Bhagavatam, worshipping the deity, living in the Dham. These 5, even if we're not conscious of them, they give effect. If we're conscious, we'll get more effect. Right? They're conscious with faith, more than that, conscious with devotion, it just continues. But other activities that are there, where you're engaging the nature and varnashram and, you know, money and position and management and all these different things, if you don't see it connected to Krishna, you don't get that benefit. You know, if you're doing something, let's say managing the temple, because it's the temple, then that's part of the deity worship, is doing service to the deity. You'll get benefit from that. But if you think that it's the management that's you're advancing from, then you're greatly misguided. You know what I'm saying? It's coming from its connection to Krishna. So those things that are directly Krishna, you'll always get benefit. Those things that are Krishna, but unless we see him in that context, we don't get the benefit of that. You have to connect it. So therefore, the direct activities, then we try to absorb ourselves in the most. Right? And then the indirect, then according to our position and nature, we'll engage ourselves. Does that make sense? Like a grihasta will be engaged in more indirect aspects. Right? Brahmachari will be less. But the point is you still have to engage it. You know what I'm saying? Is that okay? Yeah. Something else? Yes. Mic goes that way. Way over there. Keeps going that way.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. The fact that Sukadev Goswami mentions Govinda specifically in this verse points to the fact that Abhideya might be the predominating idea that is expressed in this verse, and I just wonder if you can comment on that, please.
But the point is your absorption in the Lord, that's remembrance, it's an activity, it's an activity of Krishna consciousness. See, you have situations, you have the knowledge, you have the ingredients for performing activities. And so one should know what that is and arrange those things. But it's using them in Krishna's service is the activity, right? And the experience you gain from that service, that's the prayojana. You understand? So the activity of devotional service, that's Govinda, that's Abhideya. See, the scriptures have meaning, right? It means the scriptures are describing so many things. So there's a meaning to whatever's being described. So the actual direct meaning, that's called Abhida, right? That's the Abhida Shakti that gives the potency to words and that to mean something. And so the purpose of all this is to engage it in Krishna's service. That's what it's, to know Krishna, to engage in Krishna's service. So applying that knowledge practically, that's called Abhideya. Right? So when you apply it, that's the science. If you just have the knowledge of it, that's the theory. But when you apply it, that's the science. So the knowledge about Krishna is for application. It's not just for knowing. That's why being a bookworm on its own is not that glorious. It's connection to Krishna and then trying to use that in remembering Krishna and engaging in Krishna's service. Now that becomes solid. But just to know so many things is like, whoopee, like that. It's about Krishna, nice. But, it could have been anything else also. You know what I'm saying? If you have a nature, you're just going to engage the nature. So if you've connected it to Krishna, that's good. But when you apply it, that's when you get the full benefit. That's when you'll get. Does that make sense? Yeah. So Govinda is going to be, because there you're engaging the senses. That's the practical. So the 9 process devotion means you're engaging the senses. So that's Govinda. What you experience from that's Gopinath. That you understand that and you have you have that faith and commitment to it. That's Madan Mohan. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Something else? Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the beautiful class.
Thank you.
You mentioned that in management, the point is the connection to Krishna.
Yes.
In training managers, that aspect of being connected to Krishna, would that be the mood? So sometimes we focus on the techniques, but we don't get the mood?
Yeah, well, because, see, you have to understand when you're dealing with, let's say we're taking this management's going to have a technique, right? That technique means then it can accomplish something. What's the point of accomplishing it? So if you don't take it all the way through, you don't actually understand management. You can be engaged by managers and you're able to manipulate the energy, but you're working on a very low level. Does that make sense? So the whole point is that what you're connecting it to Krishna. So you understand the strategic planning? Okay, so our strategy is pleasing Krishna, developing love for Krishna. That's strategy. If we're saying, oh, what's our plan? That's not strategy. This is a big misunderstanding of strategic planning. You think it, okay, so we'll get together, we'll have a meeting, and then we'll discuss that. That's strategy. That's not strategy. That's mechanical. That's below tactical. It's the lowest level. You understand? What you're trying to obtain by something, that's the strategy. Like I'm trying to develop love for Krishna, that's the strategy. Right? And then that's going to be accomplished by devotional service. Okay? So then that now establishes, now in the operational, you have so many ways that you could do. You could be chanting, you could preaching, you could, do some kind of different services and all that kind of thing. So you're engaging your nature. And so if you happen to be a manager, then that you're engaging management, in Krishna's service, that's the operational. All right? Now, then the tactical will be, what are the different areas of the management, how these all fit together, and all things like that. Then the actual technique of how I apply this here, that's the mechanical. It's the fourth level. It's the lowest level. You understand? But we'll unfortunately, due to misunderstanding, elevate this fourth level up to the first level and say it's strategic planning, when it's not. You understand? Strategic planning means how it's taken all the way through to your actual goal. And then the goal doesn't mean something physical. Right? Like when I do, let's say I'm cooking, right? And by cooking, then I get something cooked. That's not the goal. Right? Then I'm going to use the technique of offering it. Right? And in that, then I have the plates and the bowls and how much to put in the bowls and where to put them on the plate. And then, where do I put the plate? All that. That's not there. That's all mechanical stuff. Right? It's now, I'm going to offer this to Krishna. Why? Because, how you say, the Karmakandi offers things to Krishna. Right? They have in their house, they have all the pictures there, it's Janmashtami, they'll offer it to Krishna. It's Gandhi Jayanti, they'll offer it to Gandhi. They don't care. It's just somebody on the altar is going to eat it. You understand? Yeah. So the point is that why are you doing that? That's what makes the difference. Your intent is what totally makes a difference. This idea is, no, I'm managing, and that's what makes it perfect. That is, 1,008% bogus. Popular, but bogus. It's pleasing Krishna, because if you don't please Krishna with your management, what's the point of your management? That's what then is said. Prahlad Maharaj said, Shrama eva kevalam. It's just a waste of time. Yeah, you did the techniques and it was fabulous, but that's not the fabulous that they're talking about here. Because unless it's connected to Krishna, you see it in that way. And so that means we're connecting it to Krishna, not by mechanical means. If we're doing that only, we're still using the ascending process, which in the beginning, yes, we will use. But advanced devotional service means we're using the descending process. Krishna's there. He's a person. So we want to please Krishna. How to please Krishna? So therefore, what do you have to consider in the management? If you're not doing things that are pleasing to Krishna, that are recommended by the acharyas, you're not pleasing them, you're not pleasing the devotees, people like that, you're not managing. You're manipulating material nature, but don't have the audacity to call it management. Not in Krishna consciousness. Yeah, out there in the karmic world, yeah, you can call it that. But it has to be, if it's not directly being connected through to Krishna, please the devotees, the Lord and the devotees and the culture that we have and the practice, it's not management. If we just say, oh, I'm being practical, yeah, and what does practical mean? Pleasing Krishna? Pleasing the Vaishnavas? No, just getting something done that you feel needs to be done. And it may need to be done. But just because it needs to be done doesn't mean it trumps the personal. So then we're wondering, why is it we talk community? Why we talk this? We do all these things, and there's not gelling. Why not? Because the approach is ascending. It's impersonal. It's the technique is supreme. No, it's pleasing Krishna supreme. So, yes, we can use very good technique in Krishna service, but the main point is using it in Krishna service. That's why you'd see before, is you'd have devotees running temples and that. They weren't necessarily that good, but the atmosphere was great, the Krishna consciousness, everything expanded, devotees were joining, everything was going on. And now, we have so many, we have books full of stuff like that, and who's in the temple, right? So many people are there, right? Prabhupada's there, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Gauri Nitai, Radha Krishna, Nrsingadev is there in his picture, Panchatattva, so many people are there. Right? Like that. So it's like those kind of places. In India, you have tons of them. They're called Birla temples. You go into them, super opulent, super managed. They'll have a professional manager there managing the temple. A guy easily an MBA, not more, and doing that. And he's getting big bucks. But it's like a museum. Or, technically a mausoleum, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole point, is we have to know what it's for, and that goes to anything. We may be expert in our household life, but if it's not connected to Krishna, then what's the point? That's why Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Shrama Evya Kevalam. And we can't say that he's not an authority to say this. What is his Varna? He's a Kshatriya. And he's the emperor of the demons. That's a good manager. That's a big manager. The tala that he's on, 10,000 yojanas. That means 80,000 miles across. And he's managing that. It doesn't mean he doesn't have influence on everybody else, but that's his, that's his personal, that's his own, that's the, that's the crib, So 80,000 miles, that's 3 times bigger than this whole planet. So take it from him that it's a waste of time. So we have to understand is if you're not taking them all the way through, then you're not getting. Because otherwise we say, yeah, of course it's for Krishna. But that means then, of course, it's not actually the main point. We're saying, no, of course it's for Krishna. We need the technique. But the technique, how will that get Krishna? Because otherwise, if the technique was the thing, the smartas would be the most dear to Krishna. You know what I'm saying? The professionals, just as they get their MBA and they get their job and they get their first paycheck, with 6, numbers in it, they would just be developing love for Krishna because, it's just that's the way it works. But the problem is Bhagavad Gita says they're Naradamas, the lowest of man. Why? Because they're the most atheistic about things about God and His control and His laws. Because it's just you manage it, and that's perfection. And why are you managing it? Because it gets us some particular benefit. It's easy, it's straightforward. And in all that conversation, where's Krishna? So that's why you see is that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he said, you judge an article by how much it's talking about Krishna, that's a reality. So you see Prabhupada's always connecting, every paragraph, every sentence he's connecting it to Krishna. That's there. Because the point is you can say, we know all that. And I would say that anybody who says that doesn't know. There's a Bengali saying for that. It's a Vedic saying. An empty pot makes the most noise. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be able to stop this, forward surgence of this ideas if we just become professionals and develop these mundane qualities. That we all are nice and work together. This is going to make Krishna consciousness great. Right? It's not working for the guy who said it. Why is it going to work for us? You know what I'm saying? No? He said it. It should work, but they just impeached him. So it's not working. So we have to be confident that where Krishna consciousness is the main thing, and according to our particular individual position, then we engage that. And if we're a manager, then we're going to do a damn good job of managing for Krishna. So yes, you want to know technique, you want to know this, but at the same time, is if you don't see each technique and each point, how it connects to Krishna, then do you really know Krishna consciousness, managing Krishna consciousness? You know what I'm saying? You can say, Yukta Vairagya and all that. It's nice to say these words that we don't know what they mean. Yukta means connected to Krishna. Just saying. And Vairagya means I don't have any attachment for it. It's only for Krishna's pleasure. So, I'm only performing this activity for Krishna's pleasure, and I'm not trying to get anything myself. That's Yukta Vairagya. So it's not, we have to get beyond the idea that using something modern or something non-Vedic, that's Yukta Vairagya. Just using your body in Krishna's service, that's Yukta Vairagya. Using your toothbrush, that's Yukta Vairagya. You know what I'm saying? Taking a shower, that's Yukta Vairagya, if you're doing it for Krishna. This whole idea is that, you know, you just say something, oh, so you don't use phones, you don't use planes, and then everybody's supposed to stand back and reverence and go, oh, yes, you know. This is nonsense. Yukta Vairagya means using, so if you're a manager, you use that for Krishna. Someone else is a cook, they use that for Krishna. Someone else is you know, a book distributor, they use that for Krishna. Someone else can drive, they use that for Krishna. That's what it does. Yeah? Does that make sense? So this whole thing is that only using Western stuff, that's Yukta Vairagya. It's a very narrow definition. And we're supposed to be broad-minded, not narrow-minded. So it means all the things, because it's always that. But Vedic stuff, oh, we don't care for the rules. We chant. Then why do we care for these other rules? Corporate rules are God, but Vedic rules, hey, you know, we chant Hare Krishna. There has to be a balance in the life of the devotees, right? Because if nowadays you look at health, people just look at the body. But in Ayurveda, it talks about the mind, about the intelligence, right? The Shastra talks about the consciousness. You have to see that all of that's balanced. That's health. But otherwise, if we just pick these external things and then claim that they're internal, then how is that going to work? It's not real. And if you look at it practically, it's not working. So all these things are good and valuable and useful, but you have to know what they are. And you have to know why they're used, what's the ultimate goal. Right? Then it has meaning. So yes, you want people to have ability in management you have courses for them. Because it's otherwise it's like, if you don't have courses, someone with a managerial nature will work it out. Right? And someone who doesn't have a managerial nature, you run them through a course, they still won't be a manager. That should be understood. It's guna and karma. It's inherent. It's not that, oh, anybody can be. You know, this modern thing is I feel like it, therefore, you know, I feel, therefore I am. Right? Wasn't that, who was that? Descartes said that, wasn't it? Yeah. So that's the difficulty. Is that it means you feel, that's nice, but then you have to know what it is, and then you have to apply yourself. And you have to have the nature to be able to apply it. So, a manager will work it out, even if no one tells him anything. Because by hit or miss, he'll get it together. It may take him 10 years, but he'll get it together. You have courses on it, that just speeds up the time. So in 2 years, 5 years, he's good at it. Because he's associating with others who have that ability. So that's the whole point of association. So you're associating in a very specific area for those who are engaging that in Krishna's service. And it's a nice sangha, just like, let's say, book distributors like to get together and talk about it. That inspires, and then they'll move forward in book distribution quicker than if they were just on their own. But you leave them on the street, they will get it together. You know what I'm saying? But someone else has some realizations, some experience, that always helps. So therefore, to run courses on how to manage and all that, that's good. But you have to know is that if you're not showing how it connects to Krishna, this whole thing is, of course it's connected to Krishna. You know, we don't have to get into that low-level stuff. That's the whole point. We take Brahman, we take liberation, that's where we started from. Brahman is the highest. And the personal thing, that's... So we have to get beyond this point that liberation has a value. It's the personal that has a value. And personal means Krishna as a person. If we understand that, then we can understand ourselves as a person. Then we can actually deal with everyone's an individual. Because we'll say everyone's an individual. We don't have to do all these things that Shastra says that are generic. But everybody better be doing the modern stuff generically like I'm doing. So it's just straight up front impersonalism. And that's on a good day. Generally it's Buddhism, but... You know what I'm saying? So therefore, it's good to have that, but you have to show how it connects through. Otherwise, if they can't connect it through, anybody they're dealing with is not going to connect it through. If they're seeing it always in connection with Krishna, they'll be able to get others. And we say, oh, yeah, we know that. But do we know that? The Mother just showed us, says, yeah, of course it's for Krishna. You know, it's like that, you know. No one advanced says that. Someone who's enamored by the secondary attributes, they say that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be aware of what we're dealing with. Know the nature of it, and then we can use it to great advantage. With the experience we have in the society and what's gone on and what we've done and all these, then we have a great opportunity that people could very quickly be trained in so many aspects of Krishna consciousness. If we take it that personal aspect and that train is the thing, but if we take it as the knowledge and skill, it won't get off the ground because it has no meaning or taste for devotees. Because if that was the real thing, we would have already gotten that as karmis. But it didn't happen. That's why we joined devotional service. So we have to remember that. We have to remember where we came from. You know, scraped off the pavement with, one of those putty knives by, Prabhupada and his followers. That's where we came from. So I'm saying, the kids, of course, born in Iska, they came from the heavenly planets, but we were scraped off the pavement. Right? That. Does that make sense?
So Maharaj, a takeaway from that instruction is the person who's training managers, he should have that mood.
He should have that mood, then they can bring it out. And by bringing that out, all those managers can share that and give a wider range that's even more than what he will have. So that's the point of Sangha, is that everyone together can do it. He leads it, and then from that others catch, and then they'll show, I was in this situation and this, and they show how, when it's connected to Krishna work, when they didn't, and this is what happened. Like that. So that's the whole point. It's Sangha. It's not that, we're being professional here. We're not being professional. Like that. Guaranteed, we're not being professional. Professional means they're willing to spend thousands of bucks to come to your class. That's professional. Right? So the whole point is we're not trying to be professionals. We're trying to be devotees. And devotees are automatically professional because it's for Krishna. That has to be appreciated. Yeah? Okay. Jai. We'll end here. Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,